Good evening and welcome. I am your host, Mr Addams. Tonight's video is from the subreddit Paranormal and Paranormal Encounters. Before we begin, I would like to thank those who have given me permission to retell their experiences, and you will find the link in the description to their accounts over on Reddit. Let's begin. I drive for Uber, and I stopped at this house a few hours ago. As I'm waiting, a light turned on upstairs, and this little boy was turning the light on, waving at me, then turning them off. He did it a few times, and was smiling and looking like he may be laughing. I waved back and smiled, and even though it was late, I didn't even question it. The girl got in my car a few minutes later. I thought she took so long because the kid was hers, and I commented on how cute the kid upstairs was, and her face went pale. She looked me straight in the eye and told me no one lives upstairs. I laughed because it's spooky season and I thought she was messing with me. I stopped shortly after I looked in the rearview mirror and saw that she was starting to cry. She took a few deep breaths and asked me what I saw. So I told her about the little boy turning on the lights. She called her boyfriend, who was still there and was full on freaking out. Turns out her boyfriend had several people mention the kid that plays with the lights and waves. I would have thought it was a joke, but she was shaking and almost had a panic attack about this. Her boyfriend was woken up by the call and the entire downstairs was dark when I picked her up. I have no other explanation for this because of her reaction. My hair is still standing on end thinking about it. For those worried about the child and suspect foul play, I did place a call to the local police and they did confirm that there is no child at the residence, although they wouldn't tell me if the upstairs apartment was occupied or vacant. Update. So I went back to visit the house. I sat there for a bit and nothing happened. I could sort of see into the windows where I saw him. The lady wasn't kidding, there is nothing up there. No photos or furniture that could be seen. It's on the second floor, but it has those long windows that almost reach the floor. Anyway, there was no movement inside. However, as I started to drive away, I saw a kid in the yard running. But there was no noise to it. No crunching leaves or anything. I had my window open, radio off, and I would be able to hear footfall. Or at least the shuffling of leaves. It was just a glimpse and I waited for something else, but there was nothing. I think it's safe to say there is something on that property. I've always been interested in the paranormal. I've witnessed and experienced some events that I can't explain to this day, but I'm a very rational person, so I've always brushed it off, while keeping an open mind of course. My current girlfriend used to work at a cafe/bakery in an old building in Bordeaux. She used to close at night alone because she was a store manager and stayed after the crew was done to count the register, do all the paperwork, etc. The bakery was made of the storefront, the kitchen in the back and the office in the back as well. There's also a second floor which is only storage and a changing room for the staff. The building isn't shared, it is only the cafe/bakery. She told me she felt uneasy as soon as her first shift there. Most nights she would hear running footsteps upstairs, the TVs in the sitting area for the customers turning on and off randomly, and the front door's doorbell ringing while the door was not moving. All that when she was alone. Another co-worker she was close with shared the same experiences with her. I believe her because she has a history of paranormal encounters and is very serious about that stuff, but I wasn't convinced until I witnessed it. I also worked in the food industry, so I was rarely off when she was working too. One Sunday I was off however, so I decided to pick her up and spend the last 30 to 45 minutes of her workday she usually spends alone with her at this time. She gave me a tour of the place and it did feel uneasy, but nothing specific happened, except for some rattling noises upstairs, until I mentioned how quiet her ghost of a bakery was. She was counting the register in the office, in the back of the store. I was leaning against the wall in the corridor leading to the office. My back turned away from the storefront. To my right there was the dishwasher room. There was no door to this room, just an opening in the corridor. To better visualise, I was facing towards the office watching my girlfriend, turning my back to the storefront, leaning against the wall but seeing the dishwasher room in my peripheral vision. Jokingly, I tell her, I'm glad your ghost decided to leave us alone tonight. Not 1 second after I finish my sentence, the pile of glasses and dishes in the dishwasher room goes flying. I saw the whole room clearly in my side vision, and there was no one or nothing that could have done that. There was a pile of glasses stacked up in a pyramid, and they flew as if someone ran their hand through the base. It wasn't one glass tipping and bringing down the pyramid, it was legit pushed off. She just told me, I told you he's always there, and she was almost done, so we stayed less than 10 minutes in there, but I could feel a different level of oppression and uneasiness for the whole time. This one sticks with me because there is no rational explanation. I saw the dishes go flying around, and it was a direct response to my joke. My house is getting uncomfortable. I have lived in my house for almost a year. Almost immediately, things were a little weird. I was hanging decor in the hallway and I felt threatened. That's the best way I can describe it. I was on edge, hairs on my arm standing up. Then about a week later, I heard a man and a woman talking in my stepson's room. I went in thinking his TV or laptop had been left on, but no. He is only here every other weekend, and this wasn't a weekend. I hear them talking a lot these days, in the main floor in the basement. I can never make out what they're saying. My daughter comes down the stairs on a regular basis because I called her name, when I didn't. She was woken up to me telling her to get up. But again, I didn't. Then last week I was doing dishes. I heard a noise from the window. My daughter will tap on it when she's outside and wants my attention. I saw a woman, her face smack dab in the middle of the window. I moved to the window and she shot to the left and was gone. Now my daughter is 5'2", and she has to stand on 2 pallets on a concrete block to peek over the bottom of the window. So this lady was tall, or something else. Now my daughter has come to me and said that she cries a lot at night. Like she'll be watching TikTok and will just bawl for about 10 minutes and then be fine. I chalk this up to hormones as she's 12. But a couple of nights ago I heard her crying, inconsolable. It was like her favourite pet had died, wailing. I knocked on the door on the upper level and asked if she was okay, if she wanted to talk. She came out of her brother's room on the main floor. She wasn't even in her room. More and more I don't like it here. I work from home on a 2-week alternating schedule. I hate being here alone. My daughter is also on an every other day schedule for school. In the building one day, e-learning at home the next. She also doesn't like being alone here. My husband has never had any kind of experience here, and now he wants to buy the house. I do not want to live here forever. I'm not terrified of my home. Does it spook me? Yes, but I'm not really scared, just not comfortable. I have found that there does seem to be more weird feelings during the fall, and I'm looking into getting our windows looked at and see if that has anything to do with it. My daughter says she isn't scared either. She says she feels sad for anyone who might be stuck here. The general feeling in our house isn't anger or rage. Seems more like sadness or loneliness. With the exception of the day I was hanging crosses in the hallway. That felt a little hostile. The voices aren't arguing, they're talking. The woman in the window was quite old, and she didn't look angry, she looked curious. I didn't feel fear, other than the shock of her being there. I've been your host, Mr Addams. Good night.